How y'all doing, everybody? Another good day, a great day to get real with your guy, Ronald E. Smith. And my guest today, my special guest, is a person way, and I mean way far from where I am right now. But even though we're light years apart, she has done so much for herself at such a young age. My guest today is voice actor extraordinaire, Vanille Velasquez. How are you doing?
Hi. Doing pretty good. Sorry,
It's
kind
so-
of awkward. It's like you press
okay.
the chord and then all
no-
of a sudden I'm like, oh no.
It's all good. No worries about it. And as y'all know, on my podcast, Getting Real, we love to speak with content creators, voiceover artists, and anyone in their field, and just to sit down with them and just hear their story on what they've done in their lives, their careers, and where they hope to be down the road. And that's why I'm so happy to be sitting down here with Vanilla, because she has done so much as a voice actor. And I'm telling you guys, if I could just list off everything that she's done so far, you'd be surprised to find out she's only 21 years old. I mean, that is amazing.
I just think it's crazy. Like I don't even like realize how much like things I've done until people like tell me about it.
I
Like
mean,
in my head, I feel like I haven't done enough. It's weird.
we all feel that way, like even the
Yeah.
accomplishments that we make, like you're like, oh, like I there's so much I still want to do, and I feel like there's more I can do.
Yeah. That's right.
But the inspiration always comes from somewhere. So let's just get that ball rolling with that, So just tell us straight up, like where did this idea for you to be a voice actor come from?
I can't. Oh, I actually can. Never mind. I was gonna say I can't pinpoint the exact time, but I can. I was in like the 4th grade. It was the summer after the 4th grade, and I was bored on the internet, and I was on YouTube, and
Like we
I
always
found these like fan made audio like series. This person was like making a fan made audio series for Final Fantasy VII. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that they could, do these cool things where they voice characters and put it on YouTube. And that was actually like my very, very first attempt at voice acting. I tried to audition for it, but I was only like 11 years old, and so I sounded like a baby. And I was recording off of my laptop mic with like the electric fan.
Oh man,
Blaring in the freaking background because I didn't know anything. And yeah, that was how it started. Yeah. And I just, from there, I improved little by little through the years. I continued making like fan-made voice acting stuff, like fan dubs, comic dubs, all that stuff. I mostly did it just like by myself. Like what I loved to do was, because I'm such an introvert. I just like to do everything by myself. It's like I don't know how to like work with other people, and they like intimidate me. I'm always more comfortable working by myself.
You want to get the job done yourself.
Yeah, but it's not that I think no one else can do it better than me. It's just that when there are other people, I get so like shy and closed off, and I get worried that I'm not gonna perform good enough for them.
Has that always been for you growing up?
Oh, yeah. I kind of have stage fright. Yeah. Like I remember when I was a kid, I used to say I wanted to be like a TV actress. Then I realized I get so shy, like when people are like watching me. So that's kind of how like voice acting became this like magic thing for me. That's like, oh, I can act and they don't have to look at me. Great. It's like perfect.
No one told me that was a thing. But now, yourself growing up, though, can you say that the idea came when you were 11 years old, and you said it was Final Fantasy. But there's always, these shows that we've watched growing up as kids, whether it be cartoons and animes that really bring us in, you know, like, so were there any shows that really caught your eye about about the world?
I'm not sure that when I was watching them as a kid, I immediately thought, oh, voice acting, I want to do that someday.
Of course.
But there are like cartoons that I used to watch back then that I still like, that have kind of helped me in voice acting, because I used to like to do a lot of impressions, and I used to watch like Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans and all that, and like even like a decade later, I was still doing impressions of the voice of Bubbles and Starfire and Raven and all that. And yeah, doing impressions was kind of how I improved, because like at first, I think a lot of voice actors can relate. A lot of us like start off just trying to mimic other voices, but that's kind of how you start to learn. But from there, you have to learn to create your own voices after just imitating, because you can't stick to that forever.
So when you were doing that, you know, practicing yourself,
Oh.
did anyone else around you knew what you were doing? Like, I'm gonna guess that eventually you started just, you know, posting things online.
Oh yeah.
Like anyone else would. But anybody in your school, like, did they know, like, oh snap, you got your own YouTube channel? Or did you brag about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple of people who would be like, "Hey, that's so cool! I saw what you like put on YouTube," and like my family members would be like, "Oh, hey, did you know my daughter has a YouTube channel? You should watch it." You know, like, but yeah, but in school, it never really like because back then, like YouTube wasn't really like the cool kid territory, you know, that it is now. Back then, YouTube was more like for, you know, introverts and awkward people. Right. So I wasn't really considered cool because I had a YouTube channel. I was kind of just that weird anime fan in my class.
Look, you and me both, okay? It wasn't until like after I graduated, that's when everyone started saying it's quote unquote cool to love anime.
Now it's cool to like anime. It's so not fair.
I'm like, oh, now y'all love Dragon Ball Z? Oh, now y'all love Gundam Wing and case clothes? Forget you guys.
Exactly.
It also showed that, because I watched some of your videos on YouTube, and I can see at your young age how you were able to craft some voices like so well, you know, and that, you know, blew my mind with it. So when you got the traction, you know, the responses from people, especially from like strangers, because that's the power of the internet. When did that click in your head that, hey, you know, maybe I can keep trying with this, you know? Let's see where this goes for at least right now, you know?
Oh my. I think it took a really long time for me to be like, hey, maybe I could actually do this for a living, you know? Maybe this is actually going somewhere. For the longest time, even maybe just like 2 or a year ago, I was still like doubting myself about this, especially when I was in college, because I was barely doing any voice acting when I was in college, because I was just like swarmed with everything and I barely had time with it. And I'm Asian, so I have a family who's like, you gotta go to college and you gotta get a normal job. So there was this thing in my head, like, okay, so am I going to go to college and get my degree and work a normal job, or do I kind of want to pursue this, even if I'm not sure that I could, like, get something out of it?
What was the, I say, backup plan that you had just in case this wasn't a thing? Like, what did you think you thought you could go into besides this?
I studied communication in college, so I always thought that I would work in entertainment in some way, but maybe in backstage instead. Like, maybe I'd be a writer for a TV show or a production assistant or something. I thought that would be my route. There was a point in my life where I kind of already knew I wanted to be a voice actor. And then sometimes some people would ask me, so like, what's your backup plan if voice acting doesn't work out? And I'm like, there is no backup plan. You just got to keep working at it, you know, because how are you going to succeed if you just give up?
Like, people think that, you know, 'cause the stigma of voice acting is that, yeah, you're voicing so many characters, this, that, and the third, but the only thing people care about in the end of the day is like how much money you're making.
Yeah, that's so true.
And you say for your family, the family that you have, they are already telling like, what are you gonna do with your life? So my question then for you is that as you were growing, how did they feel of you venturing in voice acting, but also too in their head they're still thinking that you'll grow out of this and actually work for another or get a quote unquote real job, or they're just sitting there like, she really thinks she can do this?
My dad has always been supportive of me. I'm not sure if it was always genuine or he was just trying to be a good dad. Maybe at some point it turned super genuine, but it wasn't before. But my mom has always had reservations about me being a voice actor. She used to say, like what you already mentioned. She used to say that are you even going to get rich being a voice actor?
Exactly, yeah.
Things like that.
How'd that make you feel?
Well, I felt horrible, especially to like hear that from your own family. It was really sad, and it was kind of like it gets you down, but I think I kind of tried to turn that into something that would motivate me. I think I just kept going at it. Like I tried to grab opportunities that I could, like get the next bigger thing than the last thing I did, and yeah, I think it was only until I landed the Maybelline TV commercial that my mom actually had a change of heart. Because all of a sudden she was like posting the video of my commercial on Facebook, and she was like, "Oh, that's my daughter."
Mama's the only one who do that. But let's talk about those. That what was the process for you to get some of these big roles for yourself? When were you able to like audition, or try out for these things that really were like the stepping stones for you to prove to yourself that, I can do this?
Well, especially like in the Philippine voiceover industry, it's all about building connections. I was very fortunate enough to have a friend who was more experienced than me, and he helped me, like he hooked me up with the Maybelline gig. That was from him. Like I was in class one day in college, and I just get an email, and I'm like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Holy shit! It's a Maybelline TV commercial."
How nervous were you?
Yeah. Oh, I was so scared because at the time I wasn't even like going to live directed sessions like with the directors. I was really terrified about it. And I barely knew anything about voicing for commercials back then because that was my very first. And looking back, I feel like I could have done it a little better now.
Really? Do you think that's just you being a perfectionist? Being like, oh, like people like it, but I hear the problems.
Yeah, maybe, probably. Yeah, I guess I can't be a perfectionist, but you know what they say. We are our own like biggest critics.
100%, like every single day. But see, right there, like you said, you landed Maybelline, and I can imagine, like that, gave you so much confidence in yourself to be like, I can do this. I can really do this. And so,
because I didn't think that I could do commercials before that happened.
Were you only thinking that maybe I can only voice like cartoon characters and anime characters?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't. It's just that it didn't really cross my mind. I wasn't interested in doing commercials at the time. All I wanted was like, I wanted to be in an anime. I want to be in a cartoon. I want to be in video games. I don't care about commercials. They're boring. That was my mindset back then. But it changed. It's good to be, what's the word? Versatile, to be able to do different types of voiceover, and it'll be easier for you to find success if you know more than just one thing, that you're not just a character voice actor. And commercials do pay more.
Hold on.
To be honest.
Hold on. Okay, everyone, listen. Okay, She's giving you some good tips.
They pay more in the sense that it's because you just come in there and you do like what 5 lines, and then they pay you this big amount of money. That's how it pays better, but it might not be as much as like a big video game. But when you think about the amount of work you did compared to the money that you got, it's definitely better there.
And that's amazing because, seeing that you voiced like so many stations, so many commercials, I can imagine that like really just got you amped up for yourself. And so as you continue to grow and to push on for yourself, because you said that when you got to college, you were kind of trying to balance it, so were you also like still trying to manage your channel? Because I also saw too that you had like 2 different voiceover channels.
I think in college, I basically there was a point where I wasn't even like making videos anymore because it was just too much. Like I was doing too many things in college, and the things I were doing were so stressful that when I did have free time, I didn't want to do anything but just like lie down and watch a movie or something. There was like, and then I think there was a point where I was wondering if voice acting still made me happy. But looking back, I think it was just the state of mind that I was in at the time. I was just really stressed out, and I think that was just it. You
said that, I just want to touch about that, so because college is stressful for so many people, that's basically all of us trying to find who we are,
Yeah.
Even when we have an idea about like, okay, this is what I want to do, so many times, we switch, and that's normal. But like you said, you just said that you almost gave up on something that you loved. Why did you think that first for that moment? Why were you thinking that, maybe I don't want to do this anymore?
I think I was just really, really down about what was going on with like college stuff. It was very stressful, and I think it just put me into kind of a sad place where I didn't want to like do anything other than just try to relax and find some escape. And I'm not really sure what happened back there. I think I was just really stressed. Sometimes when you're stressed, you kind of, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes when I'm really stressed out, even about like other things, it's just, oh gosh, I don't know how to explain it because I don't even know what happened back there.
But see, the real thing is because when we're in those dark places, those modes, when we are our own self-doubts are clouding our minds and our hearts, it's always hard to remember, the moment where we found that light again, that shine, that pushes. Yeah. So I ask you, do you remember when you were able to climb out of that hole you were in for that moment?
I am not so sure, but if I had to guess, I think it was when I started joining the Now Voice This contest. When I joined them, I was in college, so I was doing them while I was in college, and I just thought they were fun.
See, it's funny that you brought that up because I did want to talk to you about that actually.
Ooh.
Because it's so funny how the world works. But first and foremost, I'm talking with Vanille Velasquez. If you guys are curious or you want to learn more about her, you want to see her work, go and follow her on Twitter at Vanille Crescent. That's on Twitter, Vanille Crescent. But here's the thing. I remember Now Voice This. I remember this fully, like 100%. I remember saw this on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
And I was seeing like so many people try out for it, and it was so cool, like, and then you're just saying like, oh, you guys got these weird rounds and stuff. And
yeah.
I tried out one time. I tried out for, I think, the round 1. I got kicked out the joint real quick, with the right hook. That's all good. It's all fine. But it's funny because it's crazy to think about this. I remember you winning. Like I remember it, and
Oh.
I know, it's crazy, but I remember the moment where they announced the winner. I want to now put the mic in your hand for you to tell me your experience through the rounds and then finding out when you won.
Oh, where do I start? Well, I joined the first and the second one.
Mm-hmm.
In the first one, I didn't even I wasn't sure if I was gonna join. I guess I was still in my slump. But I guess somehow I was just like, you know what? Whatever, let's just try this. So actually the first the audition that I gave for it was an old fan dub of Starfire and Raven that I just cut down to 30 seconds. And I was like, well, I didn't do anything new, so if this gets in, I don't lose anything, and if it does, well, there's something I can do now.
Got half the work, it ain't bad.
Yeah, because I was just so intimidated. I think I'm always intimidated by when there are big people involved. I was really intimidated by the
fact
that
everybody.
It was hosted by Chuck, and he's voice acting in Dragon Ball, and I'm like, he's not gonna think I'm good. That was
even try.
That was what was in my head. But yeah, for some reason I got in, and it motivated me. It really did. I was really happy about it, and I tried to outdo myself with every round. Though I didn't win that one. I only made it as far as the semis there, but it was really fun, and it did kind of reignite my love for voice acting.
And that's what I mean. You never know how the world will work with you. Something that you just threw out there, you'd be like, why not? And look what it did for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reignited that flame in your heart for a passion that you love.
I feel like a lot of things that I got that I really love in life came from out of you know what, let's just try it. I don't know, I always doubt myself, and I don't think I've even learned my lesson because it's happened so many times and I still do it.
And look how you came out the other side. You just trying out for something, and look at you. You're now back in the space where you wanted to be in the first place. You know what I mean? Yeah. And look, as you continued on, I mean, you continue to push yourself in other fields, and you were able to accomplish more things. But I would also want to know too, because are you still in school right now?
No, I graduated 2018. Yeah.
You graduated in 2018. It's so crazy, again, how the world works. It's amazing. It's amazing how the world works. You graduated in 2018, and all of this happened at that year. So 2018 can mean so much to you, honestly.
Yeah, it was the most stressful year of my life, and also kind of one of the best too. It's weird how that works.
So now that you move on from that, what were you doing once post graduation? Were you all right, I'm gonna just sit, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna put money in on equipment, and you know what, I'm gonna give my all. If I fail, I'll do something else. So what was your mindset after graduation?
I think you actually got the part about the new equipment right. I think that was when I got my new microphone. I think it was after that year. I wish I pushed myself as much but I don't think that I did last year. I think I got a little bit distracted because it was also that year when I met my now fiance. So I kind of had this distraction. Thank you.
How does he feel about your career path? For the world that you live in, is he your biggest cheerleader, or was at first was he oh, you do the cartoon thing?
Oh, he's also he's also a geek. He also likes anime and video games and all that.
He's a real one.
So he thinks I'm cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that. And for yourself, because you said you live in the Philippines.
Yep.
And I've seen also how you push hard or you believe in representation.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, as we transition over here for a second, I just wanted to know, why does that mean so much for you as a voiceover artist?
I think that's super important for me because like I've wanted to be a voice actor since I was like 11, right? So, but when I was 11, I didn't have a lot of role models that were from my race. I guess there are a lot of Asian voice actors, but at the time I didn't know a lot of Filipino voice actors. The only Filipino voice actor I knew then was Dante Bosco. That was
The
it.
man.
But now there's others. There's Christine Cabaños, and who is in the new Rooster Teeth animation with a Filipino character, which is so awesome.
I saw that.
Because
That was
I
really
also, yeah, because growing up, I also never saw a Filipino cartoon character.
it means so much. It means so much for people to see themselves on television or on screen for any of that.
Yeah, because in the Philippines we don't produce animation, so I've never really seen a Filipino cartoon character until like recently when we like produced one Filipino anime, and then they never really followed it up with another one. So I guess it's back to nothing again. So yeah, like all of the kids here, we grow up with Western cartoons, with American and Canadian cartoons and anime. That's what we see. You know, we don't really see people who look like us or have the same culture as us. I guess the closest we could ever get to that would be Hispanic characters, but it's not the same, you know, because we're not Hispanic. That's the weird thing about Filipino. We're technically Asians because we are in Asia. We're in Southeast Asia, but we're very detached from the culture of our neighbors in Southeast Asia. We're not like them. We're Catholic, for one. We're the only Catholic nation in Southeast Asia. Our culture is closer to Hispanic people, but we can't really say that we identify with them because we're not Hispanic. So it's kind of a weird spot to be Filipino in a way. Especially like when I see casting calls looking for Asian actors, and mostly it's because they want someone to be able to relate to the culture of the character, but most of the time it's like an East Asian, and I'm like, do I count? I'm not East Asian, we don't have the same culture, and it's just weird, I guess, because nobody really makes Filipino characters either. I've hardly seen it, maybe just a handful of times. So that kind of puts me in a weird spot. Like, am I really the right person to represent this character then, if I don't really relate to them entirely?
Whenever you get those roles or you see or an audition for them, what then makes you like confident enough to be like, you know what, I can do this role the best of my ability, even though I may not be the right ethnicity for said role?
Well, for me personally, it comes down to how involved is this character's background and culture in the story, because sometimes it's kind of just like a passing thing. Like there are movies like they're kind of like they don't really delve that deep into the character's race, but they just present the characters as, you know, it's just like on a superficial like value. Like you're supposed to like ignore their races and they're just presented as they are. I think in those cases where it's not really a emotional, like very deep delved story into this person's experience as a person of that race, I think that would be where I would not audition for the character, because I don't feel that I represent that, because I don't relate to that. But if it's one of those that are just like superficial, it's not really a big deal, that's when I would be okay with it. But I would not I made a vow that I would not audition for other races. Like I would only audition for Asian characters, since I am Asian. Because it's hard how to explain this. Because like cause it's Asia, but there's East Asia and there's Southeast Asia. And it's most of the time when they're looking for Asian actors, they only mean East Asian actors. But I gotta find work somewhere. So if I count, I'm just gonna go for it. But I'm not gonna audition for Hispanic characters or Black characters because I'm not that, obviously. Can't get away with that. And it's just wrong. Like, let people represent their own race.
But I want to ask you this though, because I know some actors and voice actors, the one thing too they don't like, or for some feel that their fear is they don't want to be like stuck in a box. You know what I mean? Like to be like, yes, I want to represent my culture, my people, but I can do more roles. Don't think I have to be this. So I ask you then, do you fear that the people that you audition for, they'll only give you certain roles because you fit this, but they won't give you a chance for this bigger role because no, you're not really for this.
I definitely see that like happening, and I've seen some of my colleagues talk about that on Twitter and stuff, but I don't know. I guess personally, I haven't experienced it yet. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I'll be the token Filipino voice actress at some point. I don't know.
How do you feel you would handle yourself if you were thrown in that situation?
Where I would always be like the go-to Filipino voice actress.
Would you be okay with that?
I can't say for sure. I feel like I wouldn't have that much of a problem with it because in the first place, they don't make a lot of Filipino characters. So I feel like it's inevitable that I'll find some other work. It's like what Dante Bosco said in a recent interview. He said that if I had to sit and wait around for a Filipino character to show up, I would not have a career.
Exactly, right? No, he's absolutely right. But, those are the ups and downs that every voice actor, deals with or fully thinks about, it's not easy, but I feel that, as I can believe that you have gone through on your journey, is that, these are the things that will come with the territory. But like you said, you also would like to stick to your guns and do good for what you believe is right for yourself. And if you can, voice Filipino characters and do it justice, you would definitely do it. That's something that's beautiful to see. I'm speaking with Vanille Velasquez, and let me just say, as you've grown and you moved on from graduation, you also said you're an anime fan, and you can't just tell me you're an anime fan without just telling me what shows, top 3 shows that you love watching. Come on, you can't do that to me.
Okay, well, I grew up with anime. I've been watching anime since I was like maybe 5 or 6, because they used to like show anime and like in Filipino on TV. Like after school, I would watch like my cousins and stuff. It was like Flame of Recca. It was Yu Yu Hakusho. It was Dragon Ball.
Of course, the classics, of course.
Back then. Yeah, because it was in the early like 2000s. So, but I did grow up with anime until maybe like the early 2010s, but I haven't really been watching anime anymore, admittedly, except for like some movies like Your Name and stuff.
Ooh.
So I don't really say that I'm still an anime fan. I mean, I still like it. I would still watch movies once in a while, but yeah, I don't really follow an anime religiously anymore as much as I did when I was in middle school or high school. I'm still waiting for Detective Conan to end, though.
Okay, look. No, come on now. All right, come on. We can't just. If the Simpsons are still going on, then Detective Conan can go as long as it wants to, even though that boy is still a child.
He would have already caught up to his old age, like when the show started, before he shrank.
Because I don't know if you know this, I love that show. And I first saw that show when it was on Adult Swim. That was my first time ever watching it. And I was hooked on like swimwear. Like I love that show. And I remember I fell off, because it wasn't dubbed anymore. So, but then I thought, oh snap, it's still going on. Oh, how many episodes is it? Oh man, maybe I can catch up. Oh my gosh, it's like One Piece. No,
Yeah.
just keeps
It's,
going.
mhm.
But that is so awesome. And the reason though I bring up anime here is because I recently saw that you voiced an anime show.
Yeah, it was actually in 2017, I think. Cause I was in a TV reality show kind of on our anime channel that doesn't exist anymore. But back then there was a channel in the Philippines called Hero TV where they
Mhm.
would air anime that's dubbed in Filipino. And they have this like contest reality show thing where it was called Dubbing Academy, and they would like ask for viewers of their channel to audition, and they will go on the show, and some dubbing directors will train them, and they could possibly be in anime on that channel. So I auditioned for that, and I got into the show. And when the show ended, eventually, one of the directors who was on the show with us asked me to audition for his project, and it turned out to be this anime, Pandora and the Crimson Shell, and I ended up being Clarion and another character, Amy, on that show, and it was the first thing that I ever did, and it was so memorable. It was so like unbelievable that I used to just watch that channel, and then all of a sudden I was there, and it was crazy.
See right there, and that's something I wanted to just fully go on right there. As a young child, you were sitting there on TV,
Yeah.
run to on the TV screen and watch your favorite anime show.
Yeah.
Now years later, you hear your voice on said channel. It's probably mind blowing for
Surreal.
you.
Yeah, it is. It's so surreal. Like if I went back in time and told my old self watching that same channel, hey, you're gonna be there someday, she would be like, oh my God, are you serious? It's just unbelievable. Like you dream about these things, but when they happen, it's like you can't believe it. It's just wow. Like, damn.
And now let's stay on this train right here
Okay.
of just feeling these motions of I can't believe that I'm doing this
Mhm.
because I put it in the universe and now it's happening because
Yeah.
again you voiced your voice was in another show in an animated show, Loud House.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
come
I
on,
was so
we
excited to be on that.
we got to talk about the process for that because that is another stepping stone for you.
Definitely. Like I've always wanted to be in like the Filipino dub of an American cartoon. I've always wanted that. Like I wanted that so bad. And this is the same director who I did the anime with. And when I got that text that he was doing auditions for The Loud House, I was like, "Oh my God, this is that show on Nickelodeon." I was so excited. And yeah, I really prepared for it. Like I watched like a couple episodes to try to see who I wanted to play and who I could possibly mimic. Because when you do dubs, the gist is they look for someone who sounds like the character, but in a different language. So I was trying so hard to mimic the characters, and I picked my favorite. I wanted the goth girl. Her name was Lucy.
Okay.
But when I got to the auditions, and I was asked to try for 3 characters. That goth girl, Lucy, so I was really thrilled I got to try out for her. Lisa, the nerdy girl, and Lana, the twin tomboy. But I didn't do well on Lucy. I didn't. I blew it. I knew I blew it too right after. But
Stung.
but the other 2 characters, somehow I ended up booking both of them.
And when did you know? When did you fully know like you got it? Like when was the call to say that? All right, congrats, they're yours.
I don't know how long it was. Maybe a week or 2. But it was a text message, and I was just ecstatic, and I couldn't believe it because I thought I didn't do so good on one of the characters. On Lisa, I thought I didn't do that so good.
Really?
But I was so amazed. Like, what? I got both of them? How? But like, Yeah, it was very exciting. Like being on that show is one of the most like memorable experiences of my voice acting career so far. Cause when we do the Loud House, the dub for it, we all record in like one really big recording studio, and we'd all just be taking turns dubbing, because
Okay.
that's how they do it in that studio. You're probably more familiar with just one voice actor, and then she
Yeah.
just does all of her lines, and then she goes out, then next voice actor. But for that studio, we recorded all of our lines together. So that was
Oh.
that was really fun. Like every time we met up, it was like we're actually like bonding, which is great because we were playing sisters in the show.
Oh, that's dope. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, again, just as you felt watching that anime, now over here, when you first watched the show and heard your voice in
hmm
those characters on Loud House, how did you feel for the moment it happened for you?
Oh, I was like so giddy. Like I was like squealing in my seat. Like, oh my God, that's actually me. I mean, I'm in the cartoon. I'm in a Nickelodeon cartoon. Mom, I made it. All that crap.
Mom, I did it. Pack up the house. We're moving up.
Mom, look, I'm in a Nickelodeon cartoon. I think the crazy thing is no matter like how many times you do it, when you finally like watch yourself on the show, it gives you the exact same feeling. It calls back to the exact same feeling that you're so like happy. This is so crazy. Oh my God, that's my voice.
Right.
At least so far for me. Maybe it's because I'm still new, but I genuinely hope that excitement doesn't die down eventually. I hope I'm always super excited about anything that I do.
For what you have accomplished so far and such an early stage of your life, I mean, sky's the limit. Ain't nothing stopping you but you. But seeing all this right here, what you've accomplished for yourself, and as you said before, you look back at your younger self and you being a fan and just being a normal young child, just watching your favorite show, and now
Yeah.
you're just seeing your, basically you're imagining, but you're seeing yourself now in those shows, and
hmm
it really also brings you back to that moment in your life where you almost gave it up. So I can imagine how like that is, it's also like for yourself where you are right now as a look back of like, man,
Yeah.
I I, I made it so far. It's crazy.
hmm Especially because a lot of the things that I ended up getting were things that I doubted if I should even like try out for it. And it's so crazy. What would have happened in my career if I hadn't done this one thing? Because they're kind of all connected to each other. If I hadn't auditioned for that reality contest thing, I wouldn't have gotten the anime. And I wouldn't
Right.
have met that director who ended up directing me in The Loud House. They're all connected to each other. It's crazy.
It's crazy how life works. It's the little
Yeah.
things.
hmm That's why whenever I see like somebody on Twitter saying that they're not sure if they should send in this audition, I try to reach out and be like, just go for it. You don't have anything to lose anyway, and you have everything to gain.
That's
Because
100%.
I think everybody has been in that situation where we're doubting ourselves, and we kind of just need a little bit of a push. We just kind of need someone to tell us, "Hey, you're being crazy. Just go for it."
The worst thing can happen to you is a no or no comment. That's it.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
at least you
Mhm.
be proud of yourself
Exactly.
to know that I did it, and I can look back and say,
Yeah.
at least I tried.
Yeah, exactly. And you never lose anything because if you just try, you'll learn something from it. So no matter what happens, you gain something from that.
I'm speaking with Vanille Velasquez, and we've been having a fantastic conversation. I mean, this has been a very, very insightful learn about who she is, about the Vanille, and she's been through so much. But what she's accomplished so far, I can imagine what she has her sights set on in the future. As you were as a child, you had the chance to dream and to fantasize what you want to accomplish in your
hmm
life. So now get to do that again. Where do you hope to accomplish for you? Like, what are the glass ceilings you want to break for yourself in the next 5 years, 10 years?
Oh, well, I don't think my goals have changed that drastically. I've always said I wanted to make it in the voiceover industry in America. Like I want to get there someday. And I want to be in like English dubs and anime, and I want to be in video games. I want to be in cartoons produced by the US that gets, really big. And I think it's the same thing. That's still what I want to do, but it's changed a little bit in the way that I'm not in a rush to accomplish them anymore. Because when I was younger, I had this mindset that I wanted to accomplish these things while I'm young. So people will always say that, oh, she's so young. How did you do that? I was kind of pushing myself to be in a hurry to accomplish all these things quick while I'm still young.
You put pressure on yourself to rush yourself.
Yeah, but my goals have changed because, life sometimes throws things at you that you don't expect and changes your plans. And sometimes it's not a bad thing. Like, I'm getting married and that changes my priorities a little bit. I'm not sure yet if I would have a child so soon, but I am thinking of, being family with, being like family with my husband. I won't be moving to the voiceover studio cities so soon because I want to be with my husband first. And so my career it's not taking a back seat. I wouldn't say that, but it's no longer it feels so bad to say that, but it's like it's no longer my number one priority, I feel like when people say that, they kind of get some kind of backlash, especially like these days where people are like pushed to like hustle and all that and
grind themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I used to be like that. I used to think I would be married to my career until I'm 30 or something. But, interesting things happen. Life does things that you don't expect, and it changes your priorities a little bit. But, I still have the same dreams. It's just, I have other dreams now, along with that dream.
Do you ever feel that you would have to sacrifice some things? You know how people say that to get where you want to get, there are some things you would sacrifice. So like hypothetically, I'm saying, God bless, you have your family, your children, but there'll be days you might miss a birthday, you might miss a concert because you have that big audition that you need to accomplish for a big time role. Would you do that?
Oh, wow. I'm not so sure. I don't think I'm in the mindset of a mother yet. So right now I'm like, maybe I could miss it just this once. It's a big audition, but I don't know. It could change because I'm not yet a mother. I don't have a child yet. I feel like it's different when it's actually like happening, when you actually do have a child and you see them and they're like your little ball of sunshine and you want to give them the whole world and you do anything for them. So I think it's too early to say.
But it's also too, it's not bad for what you said, how while life throws us curveballs, it doesn't mean that we're going to strike out,
Exactly, yeah.
You found someone in your life who is, lifting you up and brought an extra boost on your journey, and you're so proud to have him with you. It's ain't nothing wrong with saying, like, I love my career, I love what I'm doing, but this right here is my heart and my soul right now. Doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing what I gotta do, but you can't take this one. The new number one is my heart, and that's good. That's amazing. And Now, we've had a good talk with this, and before I let you go, before we part ways, I'll stay here in America. You do what you got to do in the Philippines. But before we go, what I love to do with my guests is this is what we call the shout out time, the appreciation when we give love and respect to people who have been with us since the beginning or who have picked us up when we couldn't walk no further. So the floor is yours. Whoever you want to thank, show love to, the floor is yours. Go on ahead.
Oh, jeez. I want to thank everybody who believed in me in times where I didn't. The people who had to tell me to just do the thing that I was so afraid of doing. Family, friends, my dad, my mom, even my brother. I hate him sometimes. And my fiance, who's always with me no matter what happens. And some really good friends in the voiceover community. People like Dave Saltora, who's the one who got me my first commercial gig. And is genuinely have been so helpful to not only me and people in the Filipino community. Francine Padilla, who also helped me and my friends with our thesis in college. And my friends Diane, Patricia, and AJ, who have always been supportive of me. And the directors that I've worked with, my mentors, who have always believed in me and pushed me to work harder as an actor. Derek Model and Derek Alex, who really the two people who I always get my projects from. And everyone else who thinks I'm cool, even if I think I'm awkward and just a potato. I surprise myself sometimes with the amount of support that I get in things. I don't really realize that there are that many people who believe in me. That's a common occurrence in my life. I always feel like I'm not that great. No one thinks I'm great. And then these people are just going to come out of nowhere and be like, nonsense. And I'm getting awkward again.
There's nothing to worry about that. That is beautiful. These people believe in you and they all look at you the way how they feel about you. They know that you are the top dog and they wish nothing but the best. And they know that you're going to keep moving on and growing and become the person that they always believed that you would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 100% real. My name is Ronald E. Smith. This right here is Vanille Velasquez. And y'all, I think we just got ready. Thank you very much. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you